Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live session. I am so excited to chat with you today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions that you have about goals, planning, life, whatever is on your mind that you need help with. I am here to answer your questions, and I am so excited to get to it today. Let's kick it off with our go-to first question that I ask every week, which is, what are you drinking? It's called Lattes with Laken. I do actually have I don't think it's considered a latte. I mean, it is because it's coffee and milk, but it's actually not because it's cold brew. It's not espresso. So I have cold coffee today. This is the cold brew concentrate from Trader Joe's, which is my favorite at-home cold coffee. Let me know what it is that you are sipping on while we're hanging out today. If you are here live, please drop it in the chat. And if you are part of the replay fam, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the replay. Let us know in the comments what it is that you're drinking while you are watching the replay. All right, what do we have? Water and Diet Coke, water, but need another coffee. I also have my water handy dandy nearby as well, in case my coffee runs out. Diet Coke, lots of Diet Coke today. Water, coffee, water, wishing it was coffee. Isn't that always the case, Susan? Wishing it was coffee. Wine, Loretta on the other side of the pond, where it is already wine time over there. Coffee and water. Water in your new pretty tumbler. Oh, that's so exciting, Carrie. I'm always here for a good cup. Sam is always like, please don't bring home any more cups. Too many cups. Ooh, Earl Grey with honey and lemon. Tina, that sounds amazing. All right. So excited to see all of your names in the chat. I'm so excited. I'm remembering to remind you now, if you want to ask a question and your name, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, is not your normal first name, or you're not normal, you're what you like to go by, please include whatever that is in the comments so that I can address you by your name. And what questions do you have? What do you want to chat about? If you're not sure how to phrase it into a question, you can just say topic and we can talk about a specific topic. But I am happy to chat about whatever is on your mind. Oh, Allie, I'm so excited that you're able to join live as well. Welcome. Welcome. Lots of coffee. Ooh, Jessica, honey vanilla coffee. That sounds delicious. Yum, yum, yum. There was a lot of like honey flavored coffee when we were in Oregon last summer that I fell in love with. It was super like the honey and like lavender. That was like what they did a lot of. I will say going to like local coffee shops when I'm out of town is one of my favorite things to do. Emily, how was your birthday? It was great. Thank you for asking. My birthday was last Friday. And I had some friends over here to just like hang out, snacks. I hadn't hosted a party, and I mean, it had been a really long time. So it was fun to just like get to do that and like be a hostess again. Like I love that. I love having people over. And so that was a lot of fun. And then some of us went out to a bar for a 90s and 2000s cover band. And it's just a blast. And we had so much fun. We ended up at a diner afterwards. God knows what time. It was a really, really great day. Definitely paid for it on Saturday. Did a whole lot of nothing, but it was absolutely worth it. I had a great time. Lavender anything is my favorite, Allie. I feel the same way. Like if I see a cocktail with lavender, I'm always like, ooh, I think I need that. Susan, how can I help my partner create a cleaning house maintenance routine that works for him? Our brains work very differently, and we haven't found a balance in doing housework. You also work different shifts. So, Susan, I can answer this question to some degree, but also want to let you know that in terms of like house cleaning, we have also not figured out something that works perfectly for us. And right now are budgeting to include a house cleaner that comes every 3 weeks. That's what we found works the best for us. And then we just kind of keep up in between that. What I would say is you have to figure out what works for both of you in terms of actions, like activities. So we are much better when you're in charge of this activity and that is your activity. And then getting specific about like, what are your expectations of when that's happening? Because so one of the things that's like Sam's activity is doing the dishes. And sometimes he does them at night before bed. And sometimes he doesn't do them until the morning. And that just had to be a conversation that we had to have in terms of like what works best for him. And if that was going to be his task, I had to be okay with it not always being done the night before. And that was the conclusion we came up to. So I think it's just making sure that you are having those conversations, knowing that likely your expectations are not always going to be met. And so having that, just essentially lowering them, because if you're not going to be able to do it all yourself, that's just going to have to happen. So that would be my biggest advice there, is having conversations about it, reconsidering what your expectations are in terms of when and how things are getting done, and knowing that sometimes done is better than perfect. Your birthday's also the 25th. Happy belated birthday. Hope you also had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Carrie, how many habits different from goals are too many habits to start at the same time? Same time, I need to start the habits for my nutritionist, getting into a workout habit, and probably some more I'm forgetting. So, first things first, I do always think that habits are related to goals. Like the habits that you are implementing likely are associated with some goal that you're working on. So it is just a type of an action step towards whatever goal it is that you are working on. That said, my normal go-to recommendation is that you do not start more than one brand new to you habit in a month. Like for that month, you have one brand new habit. Now, that said, sometimes there are habits that you have been doing, but now you're going to track them in some way, shape, or form. I would not necessarily consider that a brand new habit, but still being thoughtful that you're not doing too many at one time. Now, if you also have habits that are being assigned to you from some sort of expert that you're working with, that can also be difficult because you feel like you need to start them all right away. I would encourage you, if you're comfortable saying, all of those recommendations are great. How about I start with this one this week or this month, depending on how frequently you meet with them, and then layer on more as you get comfortable with it. If what I have found personally and with people that I've worked with is that if you start all the brand new habits on day one, none of them are going to stick because you're going to be so overwhelmed trying to do them all, and they're all linked together. And so on the days that you are struggling, you have a lower energy day, you have a busier day, whatever you have going on, they're going to be an all or nothing because you're going to link all those habits together. Whereas if you start with them one at a time and you layer them on, then if you have a lower energy day, you might let one or two of those go because that is understandable and life happens, but you won't let all of them go. So that is my go-to recommendation. Again, depending on your focuses and your goals, things might work out a little bit differently for you, or if you're just tracking something for the first time. But I'd be very careful not to start that many habits like on April 1st because it's a brand new month and a brand new quarter. Jess, this is a great question. Looking to join Patreon, is it best to wait till the 1st? It seems like the subscription automatically renews then. 100,000,000%. That is how Patreon works. It is a very funky system. I wish that there was a different way that they could prorate things and make it work. But yes, it automatically renews the 1st of the month after you join. So if you are interested in joining Patreon, I would highly recommend joining on Friday the 1st, because otherwise you're going to sign up and pay today, and then sign up and pay, and then not sign up, and then it'll automatically renew and you'll pay again on Friday. Now, I know that if you're like, but I want to do the quarterly refresh and it's about to be a new quarter, sign up on Friday, schedule time to do the quarterly refresh this weekend. You are not too late. There is still plenty of time for you to really get value out of that recording and then kick off the new quarter on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Amy, what is your go-to food when your throat is hurting? I'm sick with double ear infections, sinus, and respiratory infections. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry to hear that. And I hope, sending you all the healing vibes. I hope you feel better soon. When my throat hurts, I either want something really hot or really cold. And I know that really cold is not good for it. So I mean, that is coming from a personal preference, not from any sort of medical recommendation. I know like soup is really good for a sore throat. I will order soup delivery because soup from somewhere else is always better than soup from a can for me. I also happen to live in a city that has tons and tons and tons of delicious soup delivery options. And so a soup and then tea with all the honey. Like normally when I have tea on a regular basis, I'm a little bit careful about how much honey I put in there because of like calories. But when I'm sick, it is all the honey that I can throw into that tea. Oh, this is a great question and one that I am actually still trying to figure out. I spent some time working on this yesterday, actually. The timing. How are you managing recurring business tasks? Are you using routinary or just a list somewhere? So I don't have routinary for most of them. The only like recurring task that I have in routinary is my weekly digital declutter, and that's not all business related. Everything else is in my Google Cal. That's like where I keep the recurring lists or recurring tasks, is I keep them scheduled in my Google Cal. That said, I am playing around with making a separate list somewhere, but I have not quite figured out where that is going to be yet. What fiction book are you reading right now? Just like last week, because I haven't touched it since then, I'm on the 4th book in the Throne of Glass. I always want to call it like Game of Glass or something. It's like Game of Thrones. Throne of Glass series. I'm on the 4th book in that series. But literally, it's the same spot I was in when I answered this question last week, unfortunately. By the way, this is one of the questions that I really love answering every single week. So like if you are somebody who joins every week, first off, thank you. And if you're like, sometimes the questions are the same every week, but ones like this are so fun because likely if I'm reading regularly, the answers change. Caitlin, do you plan to take any coaching certificate or work with a coach yourself beyond business coaching? Why or why not? So I have worked with lots of coaches myself, lots of different coaches. I just haven't always shared that publicly. In fact, last year I worked with like 3 different coaches on 3 different things, and I just didn't share that information. Currently, right now, I'm not planning to get a coaching certificate. I really do feel like there are a lot of other valuable experiences and ways that I can provide value to the people that I work with without sitting through a course and getting a piece of paper. I have learned so much more from actually working with people, learning what their struggles are, learning what works and what doesn't work when it comes to implementing strategies and habits than I ever have from an online course that I've ever sat and worked on. So for now, that's not my plan, but never say never. There was one that I looked into seriously considering. It's the one, now my name is blanking on what is her name. She's the one that really talks a lot about the think, feel, do cycle as part of her coaching program. But for a number of reasons, I decided not to go for it right now. So currently not planning on it, but never say never. Amy, I'm assuming this is a follow-up question to Carrie's question about habits. How about habits that you have been doing but lost consistency? Do I start building them back one at a time, or can I start with 2 or 3? So great question. There's a couple different options here. I would still recommend one at a time, but you can layer them on faster than once a month. You can either layer them on like one a week, or even sometimes, like for me with my morning routine, it's one a day. So like if I have fallen off my morning routine and I will pick it back up on Monday, I will usually probably do like 1, maybe 2 things, and then layer on more the next day and more the next day, and take about a week to build my way back up, as opposed to the first time I did it, which took me like a year. So if they are small enough, if they're really small habits, like 5-minute things, maybe you can handle 2 or 3 and just layer them on quickly. More so you don't have to wait an entire month. If they were something you were doing consistently before, not something you've tried before, not something you've thought about before, but something you have consistently done before, you can layer them on faster than 1 month. Jess, you scheduled time on Sunday, so sign up Friday. That sounds perfect. Again, the quarterly refresh replay, I think, is incredibly, incredibly valuable. Monica, I appreciate this very much. She says, your Patreon is the best $10 I spend each month. Thank you. Loretta, any tips for how to incorporate applying for teaching jobs into my power sheets in April? There can be quite a few steps to the process depending on the school role. So couple of different options for things like this, where there's like a lot of different steps, and it could be, right, you've got 10 different things and you're in, or like there's 10 different steps and you have 4 different jobs that you're in different processes, different part of the process, however you want to say that. So number 1 is depending on how regularly is this something you're going to work on? Because if this is something you're going to check in with and work on every day or about every day, I would almost recommend making it a daily goal, saying check in with job application process. And then you can set aside time each day to respond to any emails. Is there something that you need to send to somebody? Is there a questionnaire you have to answer? Like whatever all the different steps are. And some days there might be nothing, right? And I would give yourself the check mark for checking in, right? The step would not be do something every day. It would be check in. Is there something I need to be doing today? If you want to do that weekly, you could do that in the weekly section. If you wanted to do it like 3 times a week, you could do it in the weekly section and do 3 times, right? You could say check in once, check in twice, check in 3 times. I also love doing it in multiple places and getting credit multiple times. So you could say, have it in daily or weekly for like the action, like we talked about there, And then again, have something in the monthly section that's like job application process and sorry, I just got like a hair in my eye. And then get like shaded in when you feel like you're making significant progress on that goal as a whole. Hope that was helpful. Good luck. So excited for you. Roxanne, great question. What smartphone do you use, and do you use your smartphone to film on YouTube? So I have the iPhone, I think it's an 11. I don't know what number they're on. It's not, I got it like the spring of 2020 and I haven't had it replaced yet. So that is the iPhone that I have. I used to use my phone to film on YouTube. Highly recommend starting there. If you're starting with a brand new YouTube channel, you can actually up the quality of your phone up to 4K, which is actually better quality than the camera that I use now. The negative to using the 4K on your phone is it takes up a lot of space, but the quality is fantastic. So if you are getting started, use that smartphone to film on YouTube. The biggest negative, besides storage space on your phone, that I found with using my phone for YouTube that I struggled with, that bothered me, that is really why I prefer a camera, is getting that footage from my phone to my computer. Now, I also don't have a Mac. My computer and my phone are two different companies, right? I have an iPhone and then I have a Mac or a Microsoft computer. So getting the footage from my phone to my computer in the same quality as I filmed it in was very difficult for me. Having it on a camera makes that process so much faster and so much more seamless. That said, the quality on your phone is amazing. Start there. Amy, do you just use Google Calendar or do you integrate Google Tasks? Just Google Calendar. I don't even know what Google Tasks is. Brittany, thank you for including your name. Which Patreon level would be best for someone who doesn't have Facebook? I feel like the $10 level would be a good fit. So the only thing that is Facebook is obviously the Facebook group, and that is the $5 tier. So if you were not interested in the $10 benefits and you didn't have Facebook, I would not recommend joining. Now, the $10 benefits, that is where the magic happens. Those monthly goal setting sessions are 100%, in my opinion, worth every minute, every penny of that $10 to have that set aside time every month to have somebody in your pocket that's going to walk you through setting up your goals for the following month. That happens on Zoom, and all the replays are uploaded to Patreon. Same thing with the monthly Q&As. Those are on Zoom and the replays are uploaded. So you would get all of that benefit at the $10 tier. The $30 tier, which is the texting tier, you also don't need a Facebook for that. That is completely outside of Facebook. That is just you and me texting back and forth about your individual goals. So that's also a great fit that has nothing to do with Facebook. Thank you for jumping in there, Amanda. She does not use Facebook, and the monthly goal setting and the Q&A are worth it for that $10. You also get the silent co-working, which is also not on Facebook. It's also on Zoom, but that's part of the $5 tier and therefore grandfathered into the $10 tier. Shade, do you have a tips, or anybody? Yeah, if anyone else wants to jump in with these tips, feel free to jump in. On taking meeting notes at work, is there a system you would recommend or any resources that I should look into? So everybody's going to be different here. And also in terms of what you do for work. When I was working at my corporate job and taking meeting notes, I would always take them like on a notepad. Like I just used like one of those, essentially one of those yellow legal pads, but I always picked the white ones out of the supply closet because I didn't like the yellow ones, one of those white legal pads. And then when I got back to my desk, I would transfer. I would do something with those notes. Is it an email I need to send to myself? Is it something I need to put in my calendar? Is it something I need to add to my to-do list? Like where are those meeting notes going? So that is the process that worked well for me. Once we started working from home, so I liked taking my legal pad into meetings in person when we were in the office. Once we started working from home, I did start taking meeting notes on my computer. I would have like the meeting up on one screen with like the faces, and then I would have my like Word document open, but I would still try to do the same thing. At the end of the meeting, I would take those notes and do something with them. That is what worked for me. I think it depends kind of on how many notes you're taking. Typing obviously has a lot of benefits because it's faster, but then there was also less pressure for me to like do the transfer into something else. And I sometimes would be lazy and just save the Word doc and be like, okay, I'm moving on, and then never go back and do anything with those meeting notes. So I did prefer the handwriting method. It just didn't seem to make sense once we were working from home. Diane, am I reading any nonfiction? Yeah, right now the nonfiction that I'm reading is Woman Code, which is very specific to a goal that I have. I always say with nonfiction books, my best recommendation is going to be a book specific to a goal that you have. So if you have a goal to, I'm trying, like, I don't know why my mind is blanking on goals, right? If you have a goal to build a business, read a business book. If you have a goal to be more confident, read a book that's related to that kind of personal development. To the best that you can, link that nonfiction book to whatever goal it is that you're working on the most. Maggie, thank you for your kind words. I love the $10 level. The Facebook is nice, but getting so much more out of the lives and the replays. Absolutely. Allison, I love the silent co-working. Any desire to do more? I'm willing to host. I did during your wedding week. I know, I saw that. I mean, when I finally went back through all the Facebook posts, I love that. So I am willing to host more, but I don't know that right now I'm willing to do any more evening times with dance and then the other Patreon commitments. It's just a lot of evening commitments, and I'm trying my best to let my evenings be like personal time and rest. So I am definitely willing to host more during the day silent co-workings if people would be interested in those. But I know a lot of people that are back in the office for work may not find value out of those. Also, some note recommendations coming in. MJ said, I found a notebook with meeting note pages from Plum Paper. Interesting. Meeting notes, recap, and action items. It's cool. Lisa, I handwrite meeting notes and then type them up after the fact so I don't lose any important to-dos. Also another great recommendations. Lisa, also your picture is fantastic. Amy, I have a mini HP from Cloth and Paper set up for work notes and to-do list. Alexis, not able to watch live, so I don't know if you spoke to this, but how was Moulin Rouge? It was fantastic. I also forgot to mention, I realized on Instagram that we won the lottery for Moulin Rouge. We did not buy those tickets. We won the lottery. I've been entering it basically every week that I was around since we won the 6th lottery. I vlogged that day. So I talk about the lottery in the vlog and then realized I never talked about it on Instagram. So it'll come in the vlog, but it was fantastic. It's not Sam's favorite show. It is very modern, and the irony given what time of year it's set in, but the music's very modern, and it is a great show for people who do not typically like musical theater. That is what I will say. So if you are like not a musical person, not a musical theater person, but I might want to try it, it is a great show for that, like that kind of audience. For people, and I loved it, but I have a lot of nostalgia with Moulin Rouge as well. For people like Sam who really do love musical theater, it wasn't his favorite, but it was fun. Jess, are the lives co-working sessions the same time every week? Hoping to catch some live, but I understand time zones can be tricky. Yeah, time zones are definitely tricky. So the co-working sessions are always on a weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then there is a West Coast version at 7 p.m. Pacific that I do not join. I provide the Zoom link, but the West Coast crew, which is strong, they run that West Coast time. That one is always the weeknight. The monthly Q&A call and the monthly goal setting session, I try my best to do those both on the weekends. That way those people and I try and aim for like somewhere between 12 and 2 p.m. Eastern. That way it's not too early for the Pacific, but it's not too late we have lots of friends that are over in Europe. So I try my best. It has been really busy lately, and I have not been able to get both of those on a weekend. So usually one of them is on a weekend and then one of them is on a weeknight, but those replays always come up. And then I also will post the calendar of when those calls are in advance. Like the March calendar is already, of course the March calendar is already up. The April calendar is already up. So you can see when those calls are for April. Okay, it sounds like daytime silent co-working is the thing. Okay, all right, y'all. I can do that. I can definitely add another one to be in the daytime. I can't commit to a nighttime one right now, but sounds good. Hannah, do you have any recommendations for nonfiction nutrition books? So the only like nonfiction nutrition books that I've read is How Not to Die. And I think it's a lot. I think there's some things in there that are really helpful. I think it's a lot, and then implementing it was really difficult. I have not read any other ones that are specifically focused on nutrition. That's a great point, Amanda. If we do daytime for me, then those friends that are over in Europe will get their evening. Can you explain silent co-working? Yeah, Allie. So all it is us holding each other accountable to getting something done. So we hop on Zoom, and I like to call it our virtual coffee shop, where we are all sitting on Zoom together and everybody is working on their own thing and whatever it is that you need to check off. Some people are actually sitting there. I usually try to do something that's actually on my computer. Some people get up and do something, declutter, do something around their house. I love when Ariana jumps on to tunes her harp while we're on silent co-working. It's whatever you need to do to get things done. And it's just an accountability session, essentially, to whatever it is that you need to do. Monique, have you seen MJ the Musical? Not yet. So Sam's friend is the musical director for MJ the Musical. And we have been trying to coordinate with him to make sure that we come on a night where he can hang out with us afterwards. And so we have not figured that out yet. And so we're trying to coordinate that, but we do want to see it. It's on the list. I'm also really, really excited about the choreography for that musical. MJ, this is a great question. I am a go with the flow type of person. Do what I feel like doing now. How do I push myself out of my comfort zone when trying to develop new habits that I don't feel like doing in the moment? So I answered a question similar to this on Instagram today, talking about anybody who feels like they are a rebel tendency from Gretchen Rubin's The Four Tendencies. And if that is you, a couple of recommendations for feeling like you go with the flow, but you're also implementing habits. Number one is doing your habits in a different order every day. I know that Amanda, who's on the chat, does this with her morning routine. She'll do the same things every day, but she'll randomize the order that she does them in. That makes every day feel a little bit different. Another option is having options in terms of actions. So if there is a habit that's related to a goal, but you could do this or this, that is still considered part of it, right? Maybe it's doing something creative. It could be reading, or it could be painting, or it could be something else. And then whatever you feel like doing that day that falls into that category that's helping you achieve that goal, you have your options. The other thing is to have options for different times of the day. So there is somebody I'm working with one-on-one who identifies as a rebel in the Gretchen Rubin tendencies. And so one of her habits that she's working on, which it doesn't have any options, there is one thing she wants to do every day. She has 3 different times of day that she could do it, depending on how she feels and how her day is going. So she could either do it first thing in the morning as part of her morning routine. She could do it during her lunch break, or in the evening right after dinner. And whichever one that day works best for her is the time that she chooses to do it. That way she's still working. Consistency does not mean the same thing every day. It means that you are being regular about working towards whatever it is you want to work on. Monica, I also know your name, but I appreciate you including it. What is a Broadway lottery? So I will explain this more in that day in the life vlog when we won the Moulin Rouge lottery, but I will explain it here as well. The summary is that there is a goal that the theater has to fill all the seats, right? They want every seat in the house to be full, not only from a financial standpoint, but also from an enjoyment standpoint of the performers. Performers want to perform to a full house. And so what they will do is they will try to fill in those last minute seats at a much more discounted rate, because they would rather have something rather than nothing. And they would rather have a body in that seat than not have a body in that seat. So what they do is you enter to win a lottery. You don't have to pay. Somebody asked me that question recently. There's no fee. You just enter with your name and your email address, and you typically find out very last minute. It's about 24 hours usually before the show. You find out that you have won that lottery. So it really does only work for people who live in New York, or if you're willing to be really flexible on your vacation. And if you don't get it, you're okay. I'm okay. I can go do something else other than see a show that night. And so you enter and you get a really, really discounted ticket, and you get no say in where the seats are. It's just where they put you. So for 6, when we won, we were literally in the front row. And then for Moulin Rouge, we were in the second row balcony, which is actually Sam's favorite seat in the house. So it was, for both shows, we got awesome seats, and the tickets were 30 something bucks each. So, if you are in or around New York, 100% recommend. So now that we won Moulin Rouge, I am going to start entering. So the shows that we have left that we haven't seen is MJ the Musical, The Music Man, who does not have a lottery, And then, God, I feel like I'm missing something. That does have a lottery that I'm going to start thinking about entering. And then I see this comment about Wicked, and then I'm going to start entering things I've already seen. Like I'm going to start entering the Wicked lottery. I'm going to start entering the Book of Mormon lottery. I'm going to start entering things that I've already seen. So that is how it works. And yes, daily vlog coming out next Friday. That is about the day that we won for Moulin Rouge. Maggie, this is a great question, and I wish I had a really great answer for you. She asks, how do you or anybody decide what books to keep after you've read them? Originally, I just thought it seemed like clutter, but now when you see bookcases, it gives you FOMO. So for fiction books, I don't typically keep those because I'm not usually going to reread them. I'm not really a fiction rereader except for like Harry Potter. So if it's a fiction book, I won't keep it. If it is a nonfiction book that I think I might want to revisit in the future, a book that I think there will be another time in my life that I'll find this book valuable, I will keep it to be able to revisit in the future. If not, I will try to pass it on to somebody else, whether it's a Patreon member, a family member, a friend, whatever. So my bookshelf is mostly books I haven't read or fiction or nonfiction. I don't always mess those up, that I might revisit again in the future. But everybody is going to be different. That is what works for me. MJ, I'm going to answer this question really quick. It is a balloon. At dance a couple weeks ago, the week after my wedding, my dance friends threw me like a little surprise, you got married party at dance, and they got me that ring balloon, and it's still alive, and I don't want to get rid of it because it's just so cute. It's a ring balloon that my dance friends got me. Diane, I can't get going on my goals, but once I do, I get a lot done. Can you suggest how to get started? Yeah, I actually have a video about like how to get started and how to take action. The title of the video is Momentum versus Motivation, but the key to momentum is action and getting started. Number one, start with something really easy, really simple. What's the smallest thing on your list that you can get started? Because once you get started, that momentum is going to kick in. Number two is make it even smaller. Sometimes we can't get started because we look at the list of options, it's too big and it feels too overwhelming. Can you break it down? Can you make it even smaller? Shade, the birthday balloons are actually still out in the living room too. There's a big gold 3-1 in the living room that I'm like, probably should get rid of them. Sam goes, let's just keep them for my birthday. I'm like, we're just going to keep these in our living room for 6 months? I don't know. And I feel like those balloons, like that kind of whatever that shiny material is, that like once I deflate them, I don't know if I'm going to be able to re-inflate them for Sam's birthday. I might be able to, but I don't know. We definitely saved the candles. He was like, we're saving these and saving them, which we have a video of the candles. I never posted because he like brought them to me and it looked backwards. It looked like 13. So I like tried to move them around while they were lit and then they like fell over. It was a whole thing. And someone caught it all on video. I haven't shared it yet. It was pretty funny. But we did save the 3-1 candles for Sam's birthday in the fall. All right. Emily, how do you change your mindset when you learn that a timeline for a goal is not going to happen? Try to move forward through the disappointment. So first thing is disappointment is you're like not alone in those kinds of feelings. If the expectation of what we thought was going to happen is not what's going to happen, you're allowed to feel whatever you want to feel. Take the time that you need to be disappointed and feel the grief, feel the upset, and like feel the feelings. Then it's what's next. It is focusing on what you can control. And it is hard. It's hard to be like, but this would have been. I literally just did that the other day about something. You guys, the balloon, knew we were talking about it and it just fell down. That's kind of creepy. I was thinking about this for something much less important than what you're asking about. Mine was really stupid. And so, but I literally had to sit there. I had to stop myself and say, Laken, what you are regretting and thinking this expectation of this like event, that is totally not in your control anymore. And there's nothing you can do about it. It happened. It's already done. It's over. Let it go and focus on what's next. And then also when it comes to what's next, focus on what is within your control. What can I do? what is next. And if that timeline is actually no longer in my control, then I need to just focus on what is, and what do I need to pivot to allow me to at least feel like I have some, and that could also be my Enneagram 3 talking, where I like need that sense of accomplishment. So I really need to stop focusing on the goals that are not in my control and focus on the ones that are in my control. Jess, this is a great question. I feel like starting all over with my goals, but how do I keep myself from falling into this goal sounds good, or I should have a goal for this trap? Oh, this is so difficult, especially, and I know we were just talking about you joining Patreon. Like when you see other people and their goals and you're like, oh, that sounds like fun. Like I want a goal to do that, or I want that kind of goal. This is why I keep a running list of goal ideas at all times. And I keep a lot of different types of lists. So the first one is, what are my ideas for next month? And these are going to be really specific. Like these are the things that I could do next month, action steps related to the goals that I'm working on now. So it's not really the goal, but it's really more specific action steps. But what that helps me from doing is adding them to my plate right now. The next idea list that I keep is other quarterly goal ideas. So things that fall into the annual goals that I set, and does that fall into the annual goal that I set, but it's not probably going to happen next month. So this is like a future month, future quarter, but it still falls in the goal ideas for this year. If I get another idea that does not, I look at my goals for this year, I look at my vision board for this year, and it's not going to fit in, I really have to ask myself, do I want to give something else up? Because you made that list knowing what you know about the year. Is that something you like? Is there something on that list you would give up for this new idea? And if the answer is yes, then I'll put it on like the future quarters for the next quarterly refresh. If the answer is no, I have a list for next year. I have a goal idea list, yes, already for 2023. And that's where I save the things that, like, I see somebody else doing this and I'm like, I don't have time for that this year. I already set my goals for this year. I'm going to put it on that next year's list. All of that, I want to caveat with the reminder that you get to change your mind at any time. Your goals are meant to create a life that you enjoy, that brings you happiness and fulfills you in whatever that means to you. If that means changing your mind on a goal, start over, change your mind. If that is coming from a place of like comparison or shoulds, just write those ideas down and revisit them at a later date. Jill, is there a way to gift someone one-on-one coaching? That is the sweetest question I've ever seen ever. Absolutely. If that is something that you're interested in, send me a DM. Let's chat about it. We can absolutely make that work. And we could like make a little certificate and it would be so cute. That is so sweet. Oh my gosh. So my hair's extra frizzy today. And I feel like, I touch my hair a lot in general, but I feel like it's extra frizzy today. All right. It looks like I'm all caught up, but I'm also 2 minutes behind on the timestamp. So it's probably just my computer needing a minute to actually get caught up. I can't believe the balloon fell down like right after we were talking about it. I probably should just get rid of it, but it makes me so happy. I'll probably keep it at least till the end of the dance season because it just makes me happy to look at it. It reminds me about how much I love my dance friends and excited I am to like spend a lot of time with them this month as we get prepared. The show is literally a month from today, April 30th. So, which is really exciting. I can't believe it's finally here. I mean, it's not here. We still have a whole month, thank God, but we're getting there. We're getting super close to taking the stage to a full audience. Last season, we only had a 35% capacity in the audience, and it was tough. It was very different than what I was used to. Oh, Emily, that's a good idea. I could deflate the balloon and then put it on my wall. I could also deflate it and just like fold it up and put it in like my wedding memory box. You're right. I don't need to throw it away. Brandy, I love this question. What is your favorite way to learn and what's something you want to learn soon? So my favorite way to learn is like in person in a classroom. Like that is the best way for me, is like, I need to be at this place at this time and I'm in person with everybody. So like conferences, like that's my favorite way to learn. In terms of something that I want to learn soon, I can't really even think of anything right now. but I'd love to be in that kind of environment again soon, like an in-person class of some kind besides like dance, but like sitting there with a paper and pen taking notes. That's a fun question though. It's almost gone. It's the worst when the coffee is gone and then you need to be done with the coffee. What else is on your mind? Anything else that you're struggling with? Questions that you have about goals, balloons, birthdays? Oh, MJ, thanks for sharing an update on your question from last week, talking about her 2.5-year move. She did a brain dump of task and Airtable, just mentioning in case someone is looking for a type of spreadsheet task management. I'm glad that you found something that works for you. Amy, unfortunately, they are not doing a virtual option because the virtual option did take up like a good amount of seats in the audience, like where they had the camera set up, because it is a full audience. They're not doing a virtual one. They will be up on YouTube like a month or so after the show, and I'll share that when that happens, but there will not be a virtual live option, unfortunately. Thank you for asking though. But if you are in or around New York City, or you're close, or you have a little dancer in your life that you want to bring, somebody messaged me that last week. They were like, would this be appropriate for my daughter who dances? They live in Jersey. And I was like, yes. Oh my God, yes, please bring her. So, and then coming in with my favorite question. I love this. What are everyone's wins for the week? If you are here live, let us know in the chat what your win. It does not have to be big. Any small little win from the last week, share in the chat. I was trying to think. Mine was probably just like my birthday celebration, and it was so fun. Yours was you made a decision what you're going to do. What are you going to tell us about what you're going to do? Are you just going to start using your Moxie Life, or are you going to wait till July? I can't wait to hear the answer. Do you have something good lined up for dinner? No, not today. I haven't been to the grocery store in a long time. So you bought a new car. So excited for you, Lisa. A long walk with friends. I love that. I love that. Mackenzie, any book recommendations on starting to work for yourself? I have a goal to eventually quit my 9-to-5 and work for myself, but I don't know where to start. So in terms of it all goes back to, right, reading a book that's related to your goal. So any book that would help you with whatever your business is that's going to help you quit your 9-to-5, which I have tried to start replacing, by the way, saying with quit my corporate job, because I definitely still work 9-to-5, and not knowing where to start. The other big recommendation would be whatever personal development type things that you struggle with. So like, is it imposter syndrome? Is it confidence in yourself? Is it time management? Is it all of those things? What is it that you struggle with, like emotionally and mentally, and reading books that help with that? My other last book recommendations for business books in general, it's Mike, I'm not going to say his last name right, Mike Kolowich, Mike something like that. It's the guy who wrote Profit First, but then he also wrote a lot of other business books. I'm trying to work my way through them. So far, everything has been great. They are good advice books on running a business in general. So that would be my other recommendation. He started using it. I love that. Emily, I accepted another substitute job. That's so exciting. You are getting a bonus and a raise, Amy. That is amazing. Brittany, your last week was your first week as a substitute teacher and you loved it. I love that. Your daughter's birthday celebration. So fun. Blocking out a morning walk in your Outlook calendar. You get caught up in work that you forget. Shade, I love that. Got the software organized. So fun. I love looking at that. Listening to your body and canceling a workout session because you felt sick. I love that. Sometimes you just got to listen to what you need. Amy, I'm trying to build a cleaning routine little by little, but the house feels way chaotic. Could a 2-week cleaning sprint be a good way to start momentum and then build a routine slowly from there? So if you have nothing else going on, that's always an option for any kind of goal, right? Is to do a sprint. The problem with that kind of an approach is it's likely never going to be that clean ever again. Because if you're going to do small steps from that point on, it's never going to be that way again. I would highly recommend reading the book, Decluttering at the Speed of Life. I know that in the title, it talks specifically about decluttering, but the concept of her book is that you are cleaning in a way that you can do it around your life and you're not putting everything else on hold in order to take everything off of your shelves and put them all back on. Because most of the time we don't have that kind of a time. And to do that Marie Kondo style where we take all of our clothes out and put them all in a pile, like none of us have that kind of like a time break in our lives to do that. And so doing it around our day-to-day lives and our day-to-day needs for our house is what that book is all about. And I think that it's very, very helpful. Jessica, I reviewed my AM PM routines based on the tips from last week and was able to reduce the tasks and times, and you're very happy with them. I'm so glad that the tips from last week helped you and that it sounds like you are figuring it out. That's so exciting. Lisa, what was your highlight from last week? It was my birthday. That's cheating. I know, but it was my birthday. Keeping the house clean for showings. Brandy, that's awesome. Maggie, you finished 3 books. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Tammy, I would rather pay for a reset, having a service clean than implement maintenance routines. Also a good recommendation if you can make that work in your budget. Allie, win for this week. Bought and put together some bathroom cabinets and decorated. Downstairs bathroom is done. Love that. Loretta had an offer accepted on a house. Fingers crossed. 4th time is the charm. I know that's not the phrase, but we're going to pretend it is. Jess, any tips on how to deal with financial stress? Bought an apartment and costs keep rising, which is starting to worry me. So we are in a very strange time in terms of finances and costs of things, both as a rollover from the pandemic, as well as all of the things going on in the world that are impacting a lot of various costs that typically do not all increase at the same time. My biggest tip on financial stress is going to be, what is your savings amount that you need that is going to make you feel good at all times? Everybody is going to have a different threshold in terms of the number of months they feel comfortable with, their level of expenses. Like, is it my base level? Is it my average level? Or is it like maintaining my current lifestyle level? Which one of those levels is going to feel the best for you? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Is it 12 months? Again, the universe of financial world is going to have all the different recommendations. Some recommendations are 3, some are 12. Some are your bare bones expenses. Some are continuing your current lifestyle expenses, right? Every recommendation is going to be different. My recommendation for your stress level is, what do you want? What works best for you based on your career, based on your lifestyle? What is going to make you feel good? And then if you're not there, like if you have that in your savings, now you can remind yourself like that you're there and it's protected and you have that backup, that option should you need it. If you're not there, start working on building that up. Always having whatever that is for you saved is going to help alleviate that stress when things kind of are all over the place like they are right now. Jennifer, win from this week, getting better at bringing yourself down from anxiety. Also passed an interview for a new job. Congrats. I love that. Linda, your win for this week was a weekend to yourself. Oh, that sounds so nice. I love that. Amy, I was thinking of making a list of the 5 areas in my home that are causing me the most stress and confining the sprint to those. Set aside some other goals to prioritize this for a limited time. I mean, if that feels like that's the right option for you, that's the right option for you. Sometimes I feel like I just have to lean into whatever I'm feeling in that moment in terms of what my energy wants to do. Because if I try to force myself to do something else on another goal, it doesn't, like, I'm going to not do a good job of that one, and I'm going to give up on the goal that I was completely motivated to do. So sometimes you just have to lean in. And if that is what is like motivating you to take action right now, lean into that. And my cat just curled up on my lap. That also helps with stress. Yes. Spend time snuggling those fur babies, those actual babies, friends, family. I love that. I I was going to make hot coffee today for this live, and the mug I used was my like cat person mug. So when the thumbnail goes up, that will be the thumbnail as the cat person mug. But then I went to make it and was like, nope, I want iced coffee. So I ended up with iced coffee, but I'm a cat person, man. As well as I feel like that is also very common with my friends. Like when I had friends over on Friday, even some dance friends who had never been to my apartment before were like, oh my gosh, like I think they're all obsessed with Charlie. And I was like, I just surround myself with all the cat people and I love it. All right. Looks like I'm all caught up on comments, questions. Anything else that you feel like you need a little bit of support? We are about to start a new month, which is always exciting, and a new quarter. If you do not feel like you are in good shape, you have all weekend. Do not feel like if you're not ready to go by Friday, like that your entire quarter is falling apart. A lot of people that I know are like looking at Monday as the fresh start for the new quarter. You have plenty of time. Don't feel like you're behind in any way, shape, or form. And also don't feel like it has to be a massive change. If you're doing a lot of the same things you were doing in March because your annual goals are these big, massive goals that you're working on for the entire year, great. If April looks very similar, awesome. Don't worry about it having to be this like massive refresh. So. Oh, I love this, Lisa. A second win, you had an interview with lots of red flags and you exited the process. You personally in the past would have felt like you needed to continue until they made that decision, but your time is valuable. Y'all, time is our most valuable resource. And I feel like I say this a lot when I talk about goals. But like your time is so valuable, and question how you're spending that time. And it doesn't mean like, I'm not telling you that you need to spend it this way or that way, but whatever makes sense for you and your goals. Like sleep is very valuable. So is spending time with friends. There's no right answer in any one scenario. But just reminding ourselves that time is valuable. That's all. Okay. I feel like I'm going to not go on that rant today. So many more wins, Catherine. My win was to be able to keep up with my bullet journal every day since the beginning of the year. That's amazing. Congrats. All of the congrats for you. Amy, my win for this week, I realized several things on my list aren't actually must-dos. I love that. I just had this conversation with a one-on-one client about need versus want. She was like, I have all these daily things that I need to be doing. And I was like, can you make a list? And then in reality, how many of these things are actually needs versus how many of them are things that you want to do? It doesn't mean that you can't do all of them if you really want to and we make the time for it. But a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves that these things we need to do or we have to do, when most of the time we don't have to. Sarah, any pointers on how I can get myself on the habit of scheduling my action items in my planner versus just having them on my to-do list, other than to just do it? So start with one item. Instead of putting the pressure on yourself to take all of the to-do lists and move them into the calendar section, or to take all of the action steps and schedule time, start with one. Start with just trying one of them tomorrow is scheduled. Also remind yourself that just because you are scheduling it in your calendar, it doesn't always mean that you have to do it at that exact time. For me, the value of scheduling the items into time slots is it's the act of estimating how long I think they're going to take and making sure that the things I'm trying to get done in a given day is realistic for the amount of hours that I have in a day. There's a lot of days where there'll be something scheduled, so let's say for 10 a.m. and 10 a.m. rolls around and I actually don't feel like doing that thing. So I go pick the thing at 2 p.m. As long as it's not a call, I go do the thing that was on 2 p.m. and cross it off. All that mattered when I mapped out my day was that I was realistic about the things I was getting done in the day, not that I have to do each thing at that individual time. That makes sense. It's a great topic though, and something I feel like needs to be talked about more. Also a great add on to the need versus want. Sometimes doing a 5-minute version of a task is good enough to help you move forward. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I have a whole video coming about all or nothing very soon because I have a lot of feelings on that too. Ooh, Mackenzie, I love this. Another win was realizing that once my 5 to-do boxes are filled for the day, any more tasks need to either be delegated to my husband or scheduled for tomorrow. We all have a capacity. And whether that capacity is actual hours, whether that is emotional capacity, energy capacity, we all have a limit on what we can do in any given day. And I would love for you to be able to release the guilt that you need to do all of it every day. Because the other thing about it is your capacity is going to differ day by day. It's going to be different based on your energy level for that day. It's going to be different based on other people's random expectations that come up for the day. Your energy levels and your capacity are going to differ. And it's okay if you don't get as much done today as you did yesterday. It's not a bad, you're not broken. You didn't fail. That just happens. Jess, great question. Do you, for one-on-one coaching, are time slots only during the day or do you offer evenings, weekends? I'm in Pacific, work 9 to 5 and commute. So usually unavailable during the day for EST. I do offer evenings. It is rare that I will do weekends for one-on-one coaching, but let's chat about it. And it's very possible that we can make something work given our time zone differences and your commitments. But we could also find an evening time that works for both of us. So that is definitely something I know that is always a concern on both ends of the spectrum. I just started working with someone this week who is over in England. And so she had the other concern. And I was like, no, you're fine. Because I definitely like the daytime slots as well. But we can chat about that. Asking for help is one of my goals for April. Any tips on helping shift that from someone who always did everything? Same thing, same answer I just gave. Start small. Start by asking help for small things, for 5-minute tasks, one specific thing that you know would be easy to ask for help on, both for you and that person. Ask for help on small things first, and then it gets easier to ask for help on bigger things or more things, different things. And also, I love all the people that are like, bribery and rewards. Me too. I'm all about that as well. You know that. All right, we are almost out of time. How this hour flies by, I will never know. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you my last question. What is one thing that you will do this week to make progress on your goals? It does not have to be huge. One small action step could be that little momentum kickstart that you need to continue to make progress on your goals. The one thing could just be getting yourself set up for the new quarter and for the new month this weekend. I know I chatted with a lot of people one-on-one that are like, I just haven't had time, and they're doing it this weekend, and that's also an option. So what is one thing you're going to do this week? Let us know in the chat if you are here live, and if you are watching the replay and you have made it this far, I appreciate you so much. Let us know in the comments what it is you're going to do this week to make progress on your specific, your unique goals. Emily, completing 5 chapters and studying for your exam. Love that. Jess, sign up for Patreon. So excited to have you and do the quarterly refresh. And I love that you've already scheduled time to do that for yourself. Work out, declutter the garage, I tried to say like keep and catch in 4 different ways. Catch up on memory planning from your vacation, go on a run with your family. I love that. Get your budget planner set up, create a list of all the things you could ask for help with. I love that. And just remember, you can take it one step at a time. Relax and plan for your birthday, reading 1 chapter a day, working through your power sheets refresh. Your sister-in-law's coming over for a goal setting party. I love that. That is so fun. A new fireplace. Amy, that's exciting. More decluttering and working on your home, moving into a digital planner for your business. I love that. So many steps. Also, just so many different goals. One of my favorite things in the whole world is hearing about everybody's unique goals and all the things that they're working on to create a life that makes them happy. So I am going to end it here. If you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching.